Hello and welcome to Desmond's Donders. Hi Posh Cats and Rich from Get Your Legs Down Travel. Hope you can hear me and good to see you here. Hi, should I stay or should I tow? Welcome to the live stream. The slideshow this week is slightly different. We've been showing past pictures of Lindsay has taken on our trips, but these pictures were taken 35 years ago, and they're from a couple of trips to America. The aircraft pictures are from a trip to Patuxent River on Chesapeake Bay, and the other pictures are from a trip to Homestead just outside Miami. Good evening, Husky and Wolf Dog and Bry from the Ramblings of Bry. Good to see you here. Another word on the slideshow. There is about 50 pictures in it supposedly, but as you can see, or as you will see, there are only about 24 of them. But let's carry on with the news. For those who are on the Facebook group will know that we returned early from this week's Donder due to Lindsay having a bad toothache. We still managed a cracking weekend, although it was curtailed. We were there Friday night till Saturday evening reasonably late. It was a great weekend, some lovely pictures, and the videos will be forthcoming. So Lindsay was miserable after a session of work on the Saturday with her toothache, so we decided to up sticks and come on home. Other than that, it'll be a normal week as far as it goes. There are some interesting things going on in the world of social and anti-social media, and on my computer I'm getting some pop-ups. I know you can't see them, but having switched all my pop-ups and everything else off to do this stream, they're still coming up. Hi Florida Pirate Dave, it's good to see you. You should know some of the pictures on here. Some of them, as I said, are from Pax River, Patuxent River, but some of them are from your neck of the woods in Florida. Obviously this one shown at the moment isn't. This was taken as we went up from Pax River to Baltimore and Washington. I was talking about some problems I was having. Hi Jenny, I mentioned OBS in the slideshow. I have to work on that. I don't know what the problem is. Other people have reported, and I thought I'd sorted it, but apparently not. This week's videos, starting tomorrow morning with Lindsay's photo diary, there will be it starts with our June trip. We're starting on the trip when we had a week away in June, and the Woolly Cod Wanderers, good evening, is going to start with that trip, and with our overnighter at Lagham Down and our couple of days at Cheerham Castle. You'll know, if you watch the videos, you'll see that there's a debate about how it's pronounced. There's Teorum, etc. Apparently the information is it's Cheerham Castle, and that's it. On Wednesday there'll be some waffle. Hi Park Nest. From those who watch the channel regularly will have heard me joke about food, and it's good evening Deborah. It's a sort of a rule on here that we don't do food videos. You certainly won't see a mukbang, and we will not show us eating this, doing that. I mean, I'll talk about it. I say we had fish and chips and so on and so forth, but we don't show it. Hi Nicola Dime. Hi Jessica Smith. Did I miss anybody else? I'll no doubt find that out when I replay it to check the chat. Anyway, But on Wednesday there'll be a bending of the rules. I'm not going to break them, but we have a community on YouTube, and there's a regular live stream where everybody gets together just to chat. And hello, what's Nightbot up to? There's no reason that should not have been through. Sorry about that, Jessica. I shall curtail Nightbot's activities. You are wrong, Nightbot. Go away. You are allowed to speak to other channels on here. Now, I don't know why that's in, because I took it out. Something else that's gone on. Right. So anyway, where was I? I'm bending the rules. And I've hidden Nightbot. It won't make any difference, but... No, Jessica, you should be able to use caps, but that's... I don't know, Pat. I turned everything on that I wanted on and everything off that I didn't want to on Nightbot. I shall sort that out. But it's a naughty Nightbot, exactly. It's supposed to be to help, not hinder. So, I'm going to bend, not break the rules. The challenge from the community is to produce a cooking video within your genre. Now, they're all on there going, but watch on Wednesday and you'll see exactly how I bend the rules to produce a cooking video that doesn't include food, shall we say. Hi Joy, yes, we're live, and yep, partners, as I say, we've been away since Friday, and I haven't got round to watching your video yet, but it obviously is on my list of things to watch. It's I don't watch YouTube when we're away in the motorhome, which means I have a lot of catching up to do in the week. So Wednesday's video, I'm going to bend the rules without breaking them. They're my own rules, so I can do what I want with them, I suppose. And then on Friday, we're back to the video of the video of Lagandam and Churham Castle. And that's the weekend plan on YouTube. Now there's been some interesting events, shall we say, on the anti-social media platform that is Facebook. I always thought that Twitter, followed by YouTube, followed by Facebook, in that order, is the problem channels, shall we say. Congratulations on your 1K, Partnest. Well done. Where was I? It turns out that it's not Twitter, it's not YouTube, it's Facebook. Hi, Story of Dory. Hope you're well, Thomas. I've had problems in a while, and I've been thinking about cutting back Facebook. It's not going to affect the group. That my Facebook group will carry on as per, but I'm going to be cutting back what I say and what I do on Facebook completely. Probably not going to be leaving any groups, although the one is favourite to get out. The brain has stopped working. It will kick in and work again shortly. It's not going to affect Twitter. I have no problems on Twitter, and I can deal with the problems on YouTube. The issue is one of bile and vitriol on Facebook, and it seems to be the platform of choice for that these days. So I'll be taking a back seat on there, so it seems quieter than there, and than normal for me on there. That's why. And a plug you're going to get, I don't often do this, if you want to see the videos, probably the best place to see them is either the Facebook group or to tune in and subscribe on here. Yeah, Colin, I shall be doing less and less. I shall be I should be keeping it going because it's a good way. The direct messaging on there, etc., works for me. It's nice and easy to use and block so easily, but it doesn't. It's an after the event, shall we say. On YouTube, I can pre-approve all the comments, therefore none of the bad ones actually get through and show on the YouTube chat. Whereas on Facebook, you can't. There's no pre-approval, if you like. I can stop new comments on my group, but you can't stop. You either stop people commenting altogether, or virtually anybody can comment once a comment is already up on the group, if you see what I mean. Twitter's a free-for-all, but it doesn't seem to be as trolly, shall we say. So I find Twitter fine to use. I find Facebook's okay to use, but and ironically the groups that have the most problems, maybe because that's the ones I'm in, are the motorhome groups and the caravan type groups, where it seems you're not allowed to have an opinion or state a fact without somebody coming along and being vile and abusive. Okay, I'll drink my tea. I can be now. Still a bit warm. I like my tea cold. And I've got the door shut behind me, so there'll be some warning before I get attacked when Lindsay comes to make me drink it. Won't use Instagram. Well, that's interesting story of Dory. I do use Instagram, but I tend to put up pictures and look at other people's pictures. If I want to message somebody, it will be Twitter or directly on Facebook, which I have done. There is another another YouTube issue I'd like to address. I was hoping somebody here was somebody who's not here this week was going to be here. However, it's only because I wanted their input on it. There is I'm not really interested in names. Hi, Big Keg. We Bob as well. Good evening. It's an interesting thing that's happened on YouTube. A channel has been suspended. It's being reviewed. And there's a couple of issues of why this has happened. One, the channel was directly attacked by a hacker, a spammer, I don't know what you would call, a troll basically, and at the same time they received an email which was similar to what was being spoken about. They responded to that email, and the email, you've probably seen it or something like it, asked for their channel email, their channel name, their channel URL, and their password. It's ridiculous that in this day and age that kind of email is still being used and still succeeding. Please never give your password out to anybody. YouTube, your bank, whatever, don't need your password to access your account. So if they're asking for a password, they are not the genuine article. As for the other trolling which led to the suspension of the account, then there's not a lot you can do about that on any platform but wait for them to carry out their process, realise it wasn't you, and allow you back on. Now, some folks say, well, YouTube should be more responsive, etc., etc. I am one of, is it I think 100 million people who post videos. I post 3 a week, and now the live stream. It soon adds up, and it's going to take YouTube some time. I think YouTube gets a lot of flack for this kind of thing, but there are millions and millions of people asking. Yep, like it, story of Dory. That's a good way of doing it. Hi Monge 2, welcome. The Busy Little House, welcome. I watch many channels over on YouTube from Canada, and I believe yours is one of them, but I shall check that out afterwards. I'm set up slightly different this week, so I'm not directly using my browser. I'm using Streamlabs OBS. Colin, I'm shocked. Excellent. Oh dear. Earl Grey's what we drink by default, and we do have ordinary tea in the van, as well as I like my jasmine tea of various flavours. Excuse me. And well worth it. Yeah, they probably would, Craig. Probably would. Oh dear. The where I lost the stream. That's interesting to know. That Busy Little House. Now what's the stream doing? Yeah, Dundee is near to where Colin lives, in fact. Lindsay, if you can see me or hear me, there was nothing wrong with that message. I'd shown it. I don't have a problem with that. Where was I? That Moji Boy. Good evening, and welcome to the stream. Big Simple 422. Welcome to our stream again. Now, there we go. This picture here, we'll talk a bit about some of the pictures. This is from Miami Seaquarium, and this was the trip I have described many times on one of my videos, where it was hard work, that trip. It really was. No, it was. And the other pictures are from the aircraft pan at Patuxent River. Now, many of them were historic aircraft from the point of view that Pax River had already tested them, etc., etc. But there are a couple of photos which I'm not sure are showing, and it shows what then was a development aircraft being tested from Pax River, and it was the F-14. But then there's also a picture of another one which doesn't seem to be showing, which Pax River had just got a hold of. For the love of caravans, welcome. And that was the F-18 Hornet, which was undergoing pre-acceptance trials with the Navy for use from the carriers. Well, here we're back in Florida with flamingos and a pelican, and there it is. There's the F-14. This was a trials aircraft at Pax River. It'd been in service for a while, and really that's all I can say about it. So I haven't noticed any, but is there any questions from anybody apart from why do I like my tea cold? Oh, here we go. Black no sugar from Richard. Get your legs down. Yep, It's got the way. That's the way it has to be. You can't beat a proper cup of tea. I'd probably get banned from my old live stream if I use a phrase. If I use a phrase, excuse me, that I use for my tea, and when I drank it, my coffee. Monge 2, yes, I have been to the Mac Loop. Unfortunately, before it was called the Mac Loop. Yeah, we were up on the top of a mountain, looking down to see the red arrows flying past below us, and a number of other aircraft during that trip. This was many years ago, in fact probably into the 70s, because Lindsay wasn't there, and it was a training expedition during my 3 years at RAF Cosford, learning to fix aircraft. Yeah, that was we did four in fact over the years. The first one was done in basic and took place in the Yorkshire Moors near RAF Catterick. The second was supposedly, or supposed to be, my brain's gone. Yes, it was on in North Wales, based around Bala Lake, etc. The final one was supposedly one we organised ourselves, and we ended up not being able to organise that one because of problems with Northern Ireland. This isn't the place to discuss those troubles. Have I missed something there? Go Fish Office, hello. Wee Bob, I see your question about Aaron. I'll answer that now before going back to the Tales of Woe. We didn't. We changed Aaron to go and meet my brother in on the Isle of Mull. He was working there. He was working on Mull, doing bits and pieces. He's a, I don't know how you would describe his job, but he's working for a private firm, but they are contracted to the ferry companies to sort out what happens at the ferry ports as far as traffic flows and safety, etc. is concerned. So he was working on Mull and we went to see him, but we plan to do Aaron later in the year. Big Keg, yeah, the red arrows apparently were up here. Must have been at Lossiemouth for something. The other day they flew in and flew out on their way somewhere, but I missed them. I prefer the Italian people, the Italian aerobatic display team. When I was at RAF St Morgan, they runways have a hump at the middle. For anybody who doesn't know, they scratched their tails, and I did say their tails, as they flew inverted down the runway. They scratched their tips of their tails on the hump on the runway. Kev, hello, good evening. Good, thanks for dropping in, Kev. And that's a shame to hear that, for the love of caravans. The problem with air displays was caused by that pilot that crashed into the air display down south, and it caused an awful lot of unnecessary problems with air displays because they're putting it down as pilot error and he's getting the blame for it now. He did something he didn't do, etc, etc. We had a great time, and I believe the videos from Mull I'll be talking about next week, as opposed to the Wednesday waffle one that I waffled about. And no, Big Keg, she won't drink it. That's what it was, Craig. Thanks for that. You can see I'm well out of it now. 19 years since I left the forces, and I don't really bother too much about what goes on. Oh, the Tricolori, that's right, Lindsay. Were they at Lossiemouth? That would have been interesting. So, Rogue Exploration, good evening. Thanks for popping in. When you say out of range, you weren't planning to use those guns, were you, Colin? Anyway, back to the thing. The final expedition was supposed to be one we organised ourselves in small groups, and we'd organised some great resource initiative things. The resource initiative test expedition we were supposed to organise ourselves was cancelled, and we went to the outdoor activity centre at Grantown-on-Spey. Now, I don't know whether this is still open as a military centre, but there are still a lot of vans parked outside there when we pass it, and it was a great spot. You could do all sorts from there. We went Loch Tay, we canoed all the way down Loch Tay to make sure we were fine in canoes. We'd done training before, but we had to prove ourselves, because they then let us, if anybody knows their canoeing, the river that flows out of Loch Tay and down there, forget the name of the village, but it's where they use it for championships. It's a crack in white water, and then it flows on down to Aberfeldy, which is where we had tents set up. Cheers for dropping in, Kev, and say hello to Sarah and enjoy your supper. So we didn't get to do what we wanted, but we had a great time on that expedition, and then we also went up into the hills around Cairngorm, and we basically hill walked around that area, and it was good fun. And it was done, instead of the other training had all been done as a military type expedition, because this was the one we were doing for ourselves. It was based around fun, and although we were in military kit and the military this and military that, it was supposedly a fun trip. But yes, it has reminded me of one or two tales, which I'll probably save for a Wednesday waffle. It's yeah. If I start getting on here, you never know what might happen. But yeah, I understand that, Colin, being on the mobile phones. I've often wondered about when people say this, that about their mobile phones. Joy, thanks for dropping in, and you take care, and we'll catch up with you soon. On the mobile phone front, it was I had the misfortune of having to use my mobile the other day on a stream, and boy is it a different experience. So no worries, Colin, you'll get around as many people as you can. The brain stopped working. So, have I missed any questions? He was found not guilty. Yeah, Rich, I thought there'd been something about that since very, very recently. I know previously he was found not guilty, but because it was an air accident, I think it was a civil thing he was done with, and I think they found him not guilty subject to the air accident report coming out, and that came out not so long ago, and it's been all put down to pilot error. At the end of the day, it has ruined an awful lot of air displays. That a lot of them can no longer take place because of the restrictions put on because of him, and yeah, because of what happened there. But I do remember seeing something very, very recently that the air investigation had completed and put the blame fairly and squarely on the pilot, not the aircraft, and not the aircraft's maintenance. He was flying it outside the parameters, which you're not supposed to do on classic airframes. They are quite strict on those. Where are we? Yeah, I'm just wondering when you ever sleep still, Big Keg. I'm always seeing you on places where you're when you should be in your bed. Thanks, GoFish. They're all doing their job, except for Nightbot, and I'm really going to have to sort him out. Hitch up and tow. Just imagine that happening at the TT. What the? I'm not sure what you mean there. Yes, it has with the deaths, etc. Richie. I thought the original case was civil. I thought it was taken because the police said there was insufficient evidence. Well, see, with the air accident investigation has blamed him, then there's no reason the police shouldn't be prosecuted. But I remember reading it. There is the Air Accident Investigation Board's website. You can sign up to get the reports. That's actually the one thing I do miss from the military. When I was in the Air Force, we used to get those reports would be printed out and distributed to all the squadrons, and they used to sit in the crew room, and when you were between jobs or on a night shift, it made quite interesting reading. Some of the ones didn't make it to crew rooms. Ones that I was particularly interested in because either directly or indirectly involved, but of course they were never put to the station. You still got to read them eventually, but they were never put to the stations. Alan Scammell, hello. You missed me talking about going up Cairngorm. Wasn't exciting really. Thanks for dropping in. It's I'm still getting pop-ups. This is ridiculous. I blame Windows. I think I'm going to bin it and go back to Linux. Thanks for the wet noses. Excuse me, Husky and Wolfdog. I'll get you now. Hitch up and tow. Yeah, accidents happen all the time at the TT, but it does not stop it. But the difference being, of course, is that at the TT, there's Armco and there's bales and there's safety measures. There's not a lot of safety measures you can take against an aircraft that is being flown incorrectly. Really, Go Fish Office. You know what they say about swans and ducks and things, don't you? On the surface, it's all calm and what have you. Right, thank you, Rich. I must have missed that. That's interesting because, yeah, I wonder what then. Yeah, I wonder what I read recently, because if the AIB is found against him, then he can be prosecuted. If that was a criminal case. Thanks for that. I wasn't aware. I thought that was a civil case. So that's you learn something even every day. More tea. Yeah, I know Hitch Up and Tow. I haven't been to a TT race since before I even met Lindsay, in fact. I've only been over once, and that was in the days when they pumped out your fuel tank on your bike, which should date it for you. And yeah, thanks, Richie. That'll be interesting. I'd love to see that. I've obviously missed it because I knew he was up, but I thought it was a civil case, and I'm surprised they prosecuted before the AIB report was published. Yeah, as Lindsay says, Alan, the weather's been a little bit iffy. It's not been that bad, but we've had mixed. We had a lovely Friday, but we had rain, and we had the Saturday was warm mostly, but we had rain, and then a cold breeze got up. It was if you were out in the wind, it was nice, and we were able to open up the motorhome door and get some air in that way. Otherwise, it would have been stuffy. But out in the wind, it was cold. Thanks, Colin. Stop rubbing it in. Are you still on that island, this island, or are you off elsewhere now? Yeah. Anybody who doesn't follow Colin, his current videos are from a visit to the Isle of Wight, which one the other day showed pictures of a hovercraft. I didn't even know hovercraft was still in service, but I can name the last time I was on a hovercraft. Can you, Lindsay? You're in Tamworth, right? Right. Cheers, Colin. Yeah, the last time we were both on the hovercraft was when we came back from Paris on our honeymoon. So a day or two ago. Well, last week, excuse me. Water as well as tea. Yeah, the cross-channel ones stopped years ago. It's a shame because it was a quick way of getting over there. Noisy, rattly, and all the rest of it, but it was a very interesting way of travelling. Yeah, it's there you go. Lindsay's being precise. And Park Nest, yeah, it takes, if you were going to do it from a phone as well, it takes a few days of being above the 1K and for YouTube to tick the boxes and let you go live. But it's I enjoy them. I wasn't sure to start with. In fact, it took ages to convince me to do one, and it's largely down to Jeff, who's not here. But trying to think, he's away on a trip, I believe. I forget what it is. There's so many different holidays around the world, and he's in Canada. And welcome back, Kev. Yeah, it certainly does look as though Colin's having fun down in the Isle of Wight, or was. Yeah, I realise that, Colin. That's why I mentioned the mobile phone. There are ways around the mobile phone as well, but they're frowned upon by YouTube, apparently. The method I'm using on the PC, I'm on the computer, but the method I'm using, Streamlabs OBS, the version that you get on the oh come on, the version that you get on your phone isn't that hot, apparently. Yeah, you've got to have a good connection. I'm lucky, Park Nest. On here, I've got everything shut down, and I'm only running this. I'm only running Streamlabs OBS, and I'm using 15% CPU, 2,600 and something kilobits per second, with no drop frames. But this is a fairly rapid CPU with 8 gigabytes of memory, and I know I go on about the computer not playing and not being particularly good. It is quite old and starting to fall apart, but 13 and plus % of this CPU is a lot of power. I think the advantage is, of course, we have fibre broadband, unlimited, thankfully, Craig. But I think it does take a good connection to to really do a live stream. Lindsay, it doesn't bother me. Thumbs down, thumbs up are, it's just an interaction. It doesn't make any difference. Anybody who leaves, I've said it before on a video, anybody who leaves a thumbs down without posting a reason, I just don't, it doesn't worry me. If it's with no reason given, then you don't know why it is. There's nothing you do to change it. I don't know, perhaps they don't like all the scaffolding behind me. I have explained before that that's potential antennas for my amateur radio work, and well, it's not work, it's an amateur. And this is my I don't know what you'd call it, office, hobby room, radio shack, computer room. Hitch up and toe, good one, yeah. They popped along to the show, Dave. Hi, awesome epic adventures. I'm missing, I think, something with Kev there, but man cave, that's right, yeah. Man cave's the word. Actually, if you could see the lash up that I've got here to do the live stream, it could be coming from a cave. Oh dear. Thank you very much, Go Fish. Thank you. Yeah, as I say, thumbs down doesn't bother me. It's the it's without a comment, it's meaningless. And if they're not willing to put a comment, then yeah, it doesn't mean a thing. And as far as YouTube are concerned, it's just an interaction, and you don't have to take my word for this. You can look in the terms and conditions or the explanations that are out there for the algorithm, and if you really want to see it in action, take a look at adverts that people have that have thumbs up and thumbs down on them. If you click on the thumbs up or the thumbs down, only one thing clicks. It doesn't matter what you're clicking on that advert for thumbs up or thumbs down. It's one control, one button, and that says it all. All they mean is somebody was interested enough to tick that box. I'm not monetized yet. I'm not in this for being monetized. I enjoy documenting, for want of a better word, what we do, where we go away, and showing people the beautiful parts of Scotland that we get to visit, and occasionally the beautiful parts of other places. We will be back down in England. We probably will go abroad again, but one of the reasons we don't do that at the moment is to get down to the southern coast ferry ports or the tunnel is best part of 2 days drive. We did it towing a caravan from here to Plymouth. Plymouth. To get the ferry across to France, the ferry to Roscoff. It's 15 hours is a lot of driving, and that's it. And so it's 2 days out of the holiday just to do the travelling before we get to go abroad. And at the moment, to split Lindsay's holiday up throughout the year, we go away week 10 days at a time, a bit longer at Christmas. So it's so far not an option. And to be honest, our last trip to France, what didn't I see? What didn't I see, Kev? Our last trip to France, we sat with a group of people huddled round. Oh dear, hitch up and toe. Yeah, I watched a video earlier on where somebody got a thumbs down from his wife as well. I think they're on the stream, but not for me to say. um, the brain's not working. Yeah, we were sat around our barbecues, popping on wood which we were getting from a wood pile butting up against the site fence, as a way of keeping warm. We had fires, and that was in August, July, August in France, and we both said when we came back from that trip that we could quite probably have just as good weather in Scotland. And yeah, we have. You've seen me going on about the weather, but the beauty of living up in Scotland, that well-known phrase, if you don't like the weather you've got, wait 10 minutes and something else will be along. So have I missed anything, or any more questions? I'm not seeing anything. Either that or people are... Yeah, exactly, Colin. It's a lovely place, and in fact no, it's better than that. It's a beautiful place, and you don't have to go far from anywhere in Scotland to find that beauty. Just outside Glasgow, just outside Edinburgh, the big cities, Aberdeen, Inverness, the other cities. Yes, there's more cities, but you don't have to go far. The place we were at this weekend, for example, the photos have gone up on Facebook. The videos will take a little longer. We were 6.5 miles from home. That's all. Yeah, that's all we were away. We have another spot, which is a beautiful spot I spoke about before, which I actually showed the video from, where I took the drone up and we pointed it at where the village is. It's a lovely spot, quiet, out of the way, and undisturbed. Except that visit, we noticed the signs were up, which we're going to be doing some logging up there. But so we'll give that a rest, as it were, let the logging finish, and then we can go back up. There's another park up near there, which technically is a little bit closer to home, but it's only small and can get busy with people going down there, going down the walk at the earth pillars, which are on the show the Spey, and it's incredible. There is another spot, Auchenhalreg. We've only been there once, but if we need to go away somewhere quiet, tucked out of the way, there's only room for us. Nobody else is going to park there, the kind of place it is, and again, we can have some peace and quiet, which is what we love, getting out in nature and peace and quiet. It's up until October is sometimes some of the best weather. Plus the midges have gone to bed. They talk about an Indian summer, but to be honest, it can go the other way, but the weather can be good in October. One of our regular week's holidays is the first weekend. There we go, there's Lindsay answering, saying where we're going, and that's the first week of October is when Lindsay takes her holiday at that time of year. And the reason for that is the schools have gone back. And we go in between the end of September and before the Tatty holiday starts, which varies from the second to the third week up here in the school area. Yeah, the schools up here have got 7 weeks off this year, which makes it interesting because we stay away from the populous places when the schools are off. There's an amazing amount of caravans and motorhomes moving about at this time of year up in Scotland, but you can still find somewhere to go. Yeah, thanks Kev, thanks for coming along and thanks for coming back. You got Yorkshire Dales. It's a nice spot. Some lovely places around there. Interesting, Colin. Yeah, and kept going, and I'd like to thank him for coming, and I'm about to go. Thank you everybody for joining us in the stream. We'll be back next weekend at 9 o'clock, and we will be be on during the week, and we have our 3 videos during the week, so I hope you can join us then. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you hopefully next time.